Spacebound presents Top 10 Mythical Creatures We're Glad Don't Exist. Let's admit it, we were all told about the scary monsters that would come in and kidnap us or eat us up when we were kids if we didn't finish our homework or eat our beans. While you may think these stories were simply dreamt up by bored or lazy parents to scare children into behaving, you aren't exactly right. You see, the truth is that most of these stories were passed down from generation to generation, and likely told your parents by their parents, and their parents before them in a continuous cycle spread over several generations. In other words, these stories are part of the culture or folklore you belong to. Here's a list of the top 10 creatures we're glad don't actually exist. Number 10. The Fates. These white-robed incarnations of destiny are known to control the fate of every single being on the planet. They are known as the Masters of All, and every creature is answerable to them. They have the power to control the internal laws of life and determine the outcome of each course of action. The Fates are probably one of the most commonly known of their type and accepted across multiple cultures. Number 9. Skading och Ishge. I'm sure the delightful Scottish accent that accompanies this creature won't have you too worried. The name Ishge literally translates to water spirit or water horse. These members of the equine family are named to their shape-lifting ability that allows them to take on the appearance of a horse. Usually found roaming the coastal areas in Scottish Highlands, each Ishge approaches humans as friendly horses in an effort to get people to ride their backs. Once a person gets on, however, these creatures make a break for the water and dive deep down in order to drown their victims, only leaving the liver to float back to shore and remain as an ominous reminder of their presence. Each Ishka have the ability to be in human form. While in human form, they appear as immensely handsome men, able to swoon the ladies with their accent. The only way to tell it's them is because they have large amounts of seaweed in their hair. Number 8. The Greek Gorgon. Greek mythology has been known for almost all-encompassing alternative to the world that we know. Among the numerous mythical creatures populating Greek folklore are the Gorgon, a group of 3 monstrous sisters. Their appearance is described as something out of a nightmare, impenetrable reptile like scales covering their body, with a thick forest of live snakes for hair, and hands made of brass. The Gorgon are deep sea dwellers, guarding the entrance to the underworld down in the ocean. Legend has it that any onlookers who see the Gorgon are immediately turned to stone. Number 7. The Indian Shesha. Deep in the roots of Indian culture resides a giant immortal snake called the Shesha or Shesa. With a central role in Hindu religion, this giant snake is characterized as having multiple heads, usually going into the thousands. Shesha holds power over all the planets, and its movements determine the course of the future and the availability of natural resources including harvests in the coming years. Shesha's massive form is conveniently located in an ocean of milk at the center of 7 seas. Number 6. Native American Wendigo. While its origins lying in Native American Algonquin culture, the Wendigo is one of the scariest creatures on this list. Known to roam in the rural areas in dense forests, Wendigos are described as large, canine creatures with an appetite for human flesh. They have a beast-like appearance with a head somewhat similar to a wolf, and large antlers on top of the head. These canine beasts are known to be active in the remote north during particular cold periods of weather. Legend has it that humans who resort to cannibalism can turn into a Wendigo. What is truly horrific about the story is that legend has taken on what can only be described as forming the following in real life, and there have been multiple cases of people suffering from Wendigo psychosis. This is a condition in which people develop an insatiable appetite for human flesh, and eventually kill someone in order to eat their flesh. Number 5. Kashti the Deathless. Meet another example of Slavic folklore. Kashti the Deathless, as its name suggests, is an immortal villain. What makes it different from other creatures on this list is that it's a misunderstood giant looking for love. Takashi kidnaps a person's girlfriend in an attempt to make her fall in love with him. Eventually, when that fails, it loses it and sets off a murderous rampage throughout the countryside. The only way to defeat Takashi is to get rid of the soul, which interestingly is a form of a needle. Number 4. The Romanian Strigoi. Now here's one that sent shivers down my spine. The Strigoi in Romanian folklore is the name given to the troubled souls of the dead. If the fact that the souls of the dead have to be termed troubled in order to qualify as Strigoi didn't alarm you, perhaps the fact that last reported sightings have occurred well in the 2000s. Strigoi are similar to vampires, and this example from folklore can even be considered the starting point for an entire vampire saga. Strigoi are known to have pale appearances and an unquenchable thirst for blood. This is one mythical creature that still has a very real presence and extremely strong hold on Romanian society. Number 3. The Slavic Domovoi. Well folks, it's back to Slavic folklore with this one. The Domovoi, literally translated to the projector of the house, are small, bearded, hairy men that live in each house. They have the ability to shapeshift into human or animal form. Domovois remain perfectly nice and helpful as long as you do your share of the dishes and keep your living space clean. If family members didn't live up to disciplined standards of cleanliness and hard work in taking care of their home, spelling an end to their means of livelihood. As a result, families made sure to keep their homes tidy and do all of their chores on time. Number 2. The Jinkiniki of Japan. Japanese culture has always been fascinating for millions of people around the world, and if we talk about mythical creatures, no one can match what the Japanese have. After all, to their credit, the Japanese have made a reputation for producing some of the world's scariest movies, and all that inspiration wasn't from from the X-Files. If you want to experience truly hair-raising, unnerving myths, Japanese culture is where you need to go. In Japanese mythology, the term jinkininki is used to describe the remains of selfish human souls which take the form of ghosts to feed on corpses. The jinkininki takes on a particularly horrific look, complete with red eyes and the appearance of a decomposing body. And just for a little bit more fun and excitement, they can change form and appear just like a normal human being too, going about a normal routine during the day. Anyone who looks at a jinkininki in its true form is paralyzed with fear and doomed to a painful death. Number 1. The Leshy of Eastern Europe. Have you ever gotten lost in the woods? Let's take it a step further. Have you ever been alone in the woods at night, unable to shake the feeling of being watched or followed? The Leshy of Eastern Europe is a mythical spirit that roams about the countryside in Slavic culture. This particular mythical creature has a wife and kids as well, usually taking the form of a man with a thick beard made from live growing grass. He can change size and shape. The Leshy also has the ability to imitate voices in order to lure unwary travelers to tickle them to death. Yes, you heard that right. Tickle them to death. The horrific monster that preys upon the unsuspecting in the middle of the dark forest takes them back to its cave and tickles them to death. If that doesn't spell ironic for you, I don't know what will. Personally, I feel the Slavs messed with us a little bit on this one. It's most famous for springing up upon lone travelers. The Leshy is also known to lead people astray and abduct children. If you don't want to be caught up with this creature, wear your clothes inside out and put your shoes on the opposite feet. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and also tell us some more topics for videos in the comments.